Alrighty. Good morning. Today I woke up thinking about my Easter, my experience that I had at church yesterday. Service was good. One of the things that Pastor K talked about was the concept of, well, not really the concept, but according to the Bible, on Palm Sunday, Jesus rode in on a donkey. And of all the animals that he could have chosen, he chose the donkey. Short, stout, not to be considered a beautiful horse. Um, One that could carry more than its own weight. And he decided to, ride into town on that. And he talked about how, the palms represent the blessings, the forgiveness, the strength of the Lord, all of, those wonderful, powerful things. And he talked about the fact that, on Good Friday is when Jesus was killed. He was sacrificed for our sins, our transgressions, so that we will have forgiveness and we will be able to return to the Father one day. And of course, Easter Sunday is the third day he rose, and actually stayed a while with his disciples. I think it was 40 days. Um, but in the whole story, which I've heard many, many times before because I'm not a new Christian, um, I don't know, this time I heard something different. It resonated with me when I thought about the fact that we usually do, in preparation of Easter, we usually do some type of sacrifice, whether we say we're going to give up, for the Lenten season, we usually, I'm going to give up soda, I'm going to give up sugar, I'm going to give up salt, I'm going to give up caffeine, whatever it is, I'm going to give up TV. And I didn't do that this year. Matter of fact, I didn't even think about doing it this year. But I thought about this morning, what if I give up all the stuff I'm carrying? And I had this imaginary bag that was so full, so stuffed with things that it was a one-handed bag at this point. You know how people had these bags and got so heavy, one of the straps broke, and you only got one good handle, so you like just holding on to the whole bag situation. And I thought a good exercise would be on Easter to ask people, what can you give up? Can we take this bag that we carry around that weighs us down, that keeps us from being free, feeling light, um, just enjoying life? Can we take this bag and can we just dump it? How many of us just unpack that bag on a regular basis and we know what's in it? I know I don't. I know I just keep adding to the bag. Just keep adding to the bag. And I would say in the last 5 years of my life, I have um, been trying to lighten my load. I've gone into my bag several times. Not as deeply as this time, but I've gone into my bag several times. It's like, what is in here that I'm still carrying around? When my father passed, that was something I was able to take out my bag. He's not here anymore. Regardless to whether I thought he was the father I wanted him to be or not, doesn't matter anymore. He's not here. Um, I'm not going to get to be a child anymore. He doesn't get to be dad anymore. Um, and so I have to accept he is who I received. And during that time in his life, um, whatever he might have been going through, he made decisions that he thought was best at the time, whether I agreed with them or not. Whether I agreed with him when I was a child, whether I agree with him now that I'm an adult, it was not my life and it was not my choice. I'm just a casualty of the situation. Okay. And so I had to let that go. No, he didn't do everything I wanted him to do. He didn't say everything I wanted him to say. He wasn't there every time I wanted him to be there. Okay, my doorbell's ringing. All right, guys, I am back. I am so sorry about that. My doorbell rang. Of course, this is the moment when you're waiting for someone to come and do a service in your house, and they will come when they come. All right, anyway, so we're talking about this bag and how there are times where we just continue to stuff and we don't go back to see what we're carrying. We're just collecting. And so I've done some of the work, and there are 3 categories that I've found in my bag. One category is just stuff I can get rid of. Like, say to myself, girl, you're still carrying this? You can let that go. We don't need that no more. Okay. And sometimes those things will have been in our bags for a while because of fear. We were afraid that if we let it go too soon, we would, I don't know, we might need it one day. Okay. We need to remember, you know, how that whole thing of, I could forgive, but I can't forget, and da da da, all these little sayings that we say to ourselves, which is just an excuse to hold on to something. And the person might not even be in your life anymore, whether because you moved, you're not friends anymore, um, you just grown and grew away from that person, or whatever the case is. Then you have another category of things you need help with. Like, I would love to let this go. I would love to get rid of this, but I don't know how. I can't do it by myself. I've tried. I've come up with several strategies. These strategies aren't really working for me. And so I'm going to need some help with this, whether it is a life coach, a financial coach, a personal therapist, whatever. You just know you need help with that. You may even need an accountability partner. And then there's a third category of stuff that you're working on. I'm aware this is in my bag and I do want to let it go, and I'm in the process of letting it go. And it's taking some baby steps, but I am actively working towards getting this out of my bag. Okay, so those are the 3 categories. So things to think about as you go through your bag. Just think about what's in your bag. Do you have stuff from childhood? I remember that time with this girl named so-and-so. We talk about Betsy. Betsy will always be in the parking lot, always outside. She'd be waiting for my mama to get there so she can go run up to the car and tell my mama, let me tell you what your children did while you were gone. So it's like a little old lady. And she was always getting us in trouble. So we knew she was nosy and we knew she was a snitch and all of that good stuff. Well, are you still carrying that? Are you still mad with her about that? Do you still dislike her because of that? And you may not consciously think about her, but if you could tell the story and you still be mad with her and you still don't like her and you still want to fight her, your 10-year-old self still want to fight her, you need to let that go. You really do. And if you can't let it go, you need to find out why. That's their pile of I need help with this. And then there are other things you say, I can let that go. Like, you know, if I saw her again today, I would give her a big fat hug. Be like, girl, I remember you. It's so good to see you. And, you know, yeah, I remember when, but it's all good. It's still good to see you. You know, those kind of things. So you think about, you know, your childhood stuff that happens. Maybe a teacher did something or said something that hurt your feelings, told you we're never going to be smart, we're never going to do this, that. Could have been a coach on a basketball team or something like that that said something that really hurt you and it stuck with you. Like you still carrying that. It's like, let that go. But if you can't, put that in that category where I need help to let that go. Find out why you can't let that go. Maybe because you saw that coach as a mother figure or a father figure, or something like that, and that just added insult to injury considering you didn't have a good relationship with a parent. So that could be your why, but you would need someone to help you work through that if you're not able to do that for yourself, if you're still carrying that around. So, you, like I said, you go through your childhood and things that you carry then, experiences. For me, it was fear of cheap tree lines. I don't walk in and buy no tree lines. My fear was I lived in a neighborhood where people just did mean things. And a lot of times they were hiding and they were looking for someone who was by themselves so they could rob them, so they could rape them, so they could do whatever they wanted to do to them. And not because that person did anything. It's just the mindset of the person. Um, but I had to grow to realize that every tree line doesn't mean that I'm about to become a victim. Every tree line doesn't mean that there's some crazy person with some mental health issues lurking. Um, but I'm on edge, and that's something that I'm working through. I know it, um, but still, when I go out walking, I'm on high alert, neck on a swivel, and sometimes it's a rabbit, a squirrel, a deer. Anything could be in the tree line making noise, not necessarily a person that's coming to hurt me or harm me. Um, but like I said, that's something I'm working on. And I don't want that fear to stop me from going to the park and working out or walking or something like that. So just think about those kinds of things when you look at your childhood interactions with people, things people said, or what about what you did? Sometimes it's you. You haven't forgiven yourself from that time where you did something really mean to somebody and nobody but you know you did it. Okay, whether you set something on fire, whether you set somebody up to be beat up, whether you stole something, whatever it was, but you know you did it. You know you were responsible and you haven't forgiven yourself for that. That's something you need to consider. Do I work on this? Can I work on this on my own? Or do I need help working on this so I can forgive myself? Because Jesus already paid the price for you. He already forgave you. Why are you still carrying it? And so you've got to make peace with that so you can let it go. Because he already forgave you. He already gave you a hug and a kiss. He already told you go forth and live your rest of your life. But you are still carrying it by choice. And by choice, you have to let it go. Moving forward to your teen years, your early adult years, what things were you doing, engaging in, participating in, standing back and allowing to happen when you should not have? Or what things, like I said, may have happened or traumatized you and you're still holding on to it. It's like, when you think about it and you picture it was like yesterday. It's so fresh. You need to be able to work through that and let it go. Because again, God forgave already. That person, you, the situation, you're still here. You are healthy. You are alive. And God filled that hole with his love. And you keep picking at that hole, trying to reinvent the pain. Why do you torture yourself? So that's a category for help. And if you have gotten the help or you're getting the help and you're working on it, you can put it there. If you say, yeah, I let that go. I knew that situation that had nothing to do with me, I was a victim. Or I knew I did the wrong thing. That was a time in my life where I was just wilding out. I left all my Christian values in my Bible in the side drawer. And I was just, straight messing up. And I'm glad that I have a God. And that he is a loving Father. And that he forgives. And that he allows us to mess up, recognize we've messed up, and forgives us. So you keep moving forward. It could be something that happened on your job. It could be a spouse or a mate that wronged you, that did something to you, or that you wronged and did something to you. You've got to stop carrying that around. It could be children. if you're old enough to have children, who are not babies anymore, they're adults, same thing. You know, they don't, they're not perfect either. So you have to recognize that, you know, they need forgiveness as well. Hold on a second, I hear some activity. All right, I'm back. Sorry for the interruption. Busy day. Okay, so in your adulthood, you may have things happening at work where people, you know, agitate you, make you mad. Um, you might have gotten fired unjustly, been passed over for a promotion unjustly, in your opinion, unjustly. Or you could have been the person in power that didn't give someone a promotion or got somebody fired because you could, and you didn't particularly care for that person. That was a problem you wanted to get rid of. Check that box. Like I say, in relationships, sometimes people don't do what you expect of them. And let me be clear, because I feel like when we get into relationships, it's important to get really, really clear. When people say or do certain things to you, you can't own anything but how you received it. And let me say that again. You can only own how you received it. You can't say that person said something or did something with the intent to hurt you. That's the implied meaning that you took away from it. But you don't really know what was happening in that person's mind. It could have been fear on their part. It could have been meanness on their part. It could have just been just scrambling, and that was the first thing that came to my mind and out my mouth, and I couldn't take it back fast enough. It was said, it was done. So when you're unpacking emotions about incidents that was said or done that involves other people, what you are unpacking is the emotional baggage, how you received it, and then how you internalized it. Like, what are you doing with it? Are you taking it in as truth? Are you taking it in as you deserved it? Are you taking it in as I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy, a part of me is broken, and I need to be grateful that someone picked up God's trash and loved me anyway? You got to own what you're doing with it, and then say to yourself, this is not right. Okay, that's somebody else's issues, problems, baggage, but it's not supposed to be yours. Okay, and so if you can't scrap that and be like, they ain't got to like me because I love myself. You know, I like me enough for all of us. I love me enough for all of us, so I can ball that situation up, throw that in the basket. Like, I don't know why I'm hanging on to that person, you know, absolutely not. Or it could be someone that you still love and care about, and you hate what they said or what they did and how you felt. It might be easier to stop hating what they said or did, but the harder part is letting go how you felt. And so if you need help working through that, you have to acknowledge that. If you need, if you've done the work, but you're still working on it because there's so much emotion intertwined in it, then that's a whole nother category. But just being aware, like 100% aware, and keeping in mind, you know, when you struggle with, can I do this? Remember, God already forgave. He forgave you. He forgave them. Like, you holding on to it by choice serves you how? How does it serve you? You can't take your pain and give it to someone else. It doesn't work that way. You try, but it doesn't work that way. That's a whole nother category. That's a whole nother video. So moving from relationships, be it with children, be it with parents, be it with a mate, spouse, co-workers, quote unquote, your best friends, all of that. Moving away from that, you know, just expectations you had of yourself. Are there things that you didn't do that still bothers you that you didn't do it? Opportunities that you feel like you missed that still bother you? Places you didn't travel to that you wanted to. Um, it's interesting what's in people's bags. And so it's going to be different for different people. It depends on what you value. Um, but, going through the simple stuff as well as the hard stuff is still stuff in your bag. Oh, I always wanted to be a professional ball player, but I messed around and I did X, Y, and Z. Well, you never know if you would have been or not. Excuse me. So let it go. How old are you now? And in some way, can you still have that connection to that thing that you wanted to do? It may not be in the same way that you thought, but you can do it in a different way. So, something to think about. So, in your categories, once you have sticky note yourself to death as you're going through these different things, and you have your 3 categories, I can clearly let go of this. Just look at all the stuff that you've let go and how much space you got in your bag now. Oh my gracious. And you can collect all the sticky notes, look at it, say goodbye to it, burn it, toss it in the trash, however you want to say goodbye to it, but say goodbye to it. And then the things that you need help with, well, collect those. And then schedule yourself a mental health appointment with a therapist, a counselor, a life coach, whatever it is that you feel would be a good fit for what you're trying to battle, what you're trying to get through. And you may evolve. You may move from a mental health therapist to a life coach, to a financial advisor, to whatever. Because some people have gambling addictions, drinking addictions, weed addictions, or whatever. So if you've got some kind of an addiction that you're battling due to some stuff, you may need more than one person helping you and working through those kinds of things. Shopaholics. Yeah, so everything's not, drug related when we talk about addictions. It can be sexual, whatever, but this is a coping mechanism for something that you need to work through. So you may need more than one person helping you. And then if you're doing the work, meaning that you've done similar exercises and you know what these big heavy things are in your life and you're working through them, you might want to evaluate. Am I at a plateau with what I'm doing? Do I need to try something different? Do I need to work with somebody different to keep it moving? Because you should be at a point where you are letting some stuff go. You got the same stuff now that you had when you first started getting help and working through it, then something still isn't working. And it's either you or them or the two of you all aren't a good fit. So you want to look into doing something different or doing something different with somebody different. Okay, so that's my 2 cents, and that is my activity. I hope that I explained it clearly enough in the examples that I've given you. But the goal is to make that bag lighter and keep making it lighter and keep getting rid of stuff, because God doesn't want us carrying around yesterday. He said, if I could take care of the birds and the squirrels and the insects, why do you think I'm not going to take care of you? I got you. I forgave you. I love you. You know, you are my sweet, wonderful child. You are perfectly made just the way I wanted you to be. I want you to like yourself and love yourself. So if you got issues with your lips being too big, your nose being too small, your eyes being too close together, your ears too big, you too fat, you too skinny, you too tall, you too short, feet too big, hands too small, whatever it is, let that stuff go. We're not to compare ourselves to others. We are uniquely and perfectly made. So whatever it is that you're carrying around, never liked about yourself, or whatever, I hope that you can let it go. I hope that you can forgive yourself, kiss yourself, hug yourself, love yourself. And lighten that bag. It'd be so nice to take that one handle of that bag and be swinging that one handle around, be like, my bag's empty. Oh, it's almost empty. It's light enough that I can do this with one hand. I can carry it on my shoulder like this. You know, put it on the neck and make it a little wrist thingy. You know, as opposed to something you dragging around, that you carrying around, that is on your back weighing you down. You know, we don't need that in our lives. We don't. We don't. Not when we have a God that loves us and has already forgiven us. We've got to understand that the roadmap to peace and joy and happiness is in us, and we already have the power to be happy and to be full of joy and to be at peace. It's already in us. We just have to give ourselves permission